The movie begins in a bustling city and everyone is going about their normal lives. The atmosphere is serene, but suddenly hundreds of mysterious flying objects burst through the sky and begin randomly shooting defenseless citizens. Peter, our protagonist, is watching things happen in horror from a building until an aircraft fires a missile at him. Peter suddenly wakes up next to his wife Alice in a chilly sweat. Peter has been having frequent nightmares in which he and everyone he knows experiences violent encounters with an unknown enemy that resemble an alien invasion. This causes him to have a strained relationship with his wife, Alice, and his daughters Hanna and Lucy. Alice has given her husband advice many times to see a psychiatrist, but he always ignores her, saying it will pass. This has strained the couple's relationship, and they now try to ignore each other. Alice and Peter have two daughters named Hanna and Lucy who are also concerned about him, but Peter always claims that he will eventually figure everything out on his own. The following day, it becomes clear that because of Peter's recurring nightmares, the atmosphere at his home is quite tense. As a result, before leaving for work, to brighten everyone's mood, much to the delight of the children, especially Lucy, Peter promises to take his family to a pier later that day. He also promises to throw a party the following day to celebrate Alice's promotion at work. The peculiarity of the city is that all of the children are always at home because there are no schools, and education is non-existent. Furthermore, everyone appears to be too far away from each other. There are interactions, but they appear to be cold and not genuine. Later, at work, Peter experiences strange visions, causing one of his machines to crash. As he comes out of his trance and attempts to repair the machine, his boss, David, arrives. David works as an empathetic and understanding man who is aware of Peter's issues and refers him to an excellent clinic. Peter disagrees that it is all in his head, believing that what he sees is real. Prophetic visions of an impending invasion from the sky. However, David warns him that if he doesn't comply, he won't be able to continue working at the office. Soon after, he has another set of strange visions. Some gunmen storm into one of the buildings and begin shooting at everyone in sight. Just then, he awakens, startled, and realizes he's been daydreaming at work again. To compound matters, he is also late for the family outing, which upsets his children. As a result, fed up, he finally decides to go to the clinic because of what his life has become. The following day, he announces to Alice, to her surprise and delight, that he has already scheduled an appointment with a doctor. Peter meets a fellow patient named Chris at the clinic, who reveals that he is experiencing similar visions. He then begins to tell strange theories such as someone wishing to exert control over them by erasing their memories. These people are vicious and lethal, and they are on their way to Earth very soon. The conversation has perplexed Peter. However, he chooses to ignore it because the facility is full of mentally ill patients. Peter has another strange vision after Chris leaves for his appointment. This time around, he notices his boss, David, and his family walking around the city armed with guns. After Peter snaps out of it, he realizes that his visions are of an impending invasion. He does not want to be forgotten. As a result, he leaves the clinic without receiving treatment. When he returns home, Alice questions him about his session, and he tells her the truth. Peter believes that he is supposed to see these things and that something bad is about to happen to them. Alice cuts him off, fed up with all the nonsense, and tells him to just get ready for the party. However, strangely, no one appears to be eating anything at the party, as if they don't need food. Peter also continues to act strangely and is always looking up at the sky through his telescope on the roof balcony. A strange luminous object falls from the sky when his neighbor Ray comes over to talk. Peter believes he's dreaming, but Ray confirms that the objects are real. This appeals to the attention of Alice and Ray's wife, Samantha, and they decide to join the men on the balcony. Suddenly, the flying object collides with a nearby structure, sending massive shockwaves that tear the city apart. This also causes Peter and the group to go flying through the glass window and into their apartment. They quickly get up and have another look through the balcony, revealing thousands of similar invading spaceships descending from the sky above and opening fire on the city, causing significant damage. They rush back into their house, terrified. Peter looks for his children and discovers that Hanna is at Ray's house with her daughter, Maddie. He rushes to find the girls with Ray, but an alien soldier appears and opens fire on them. The men narrowly escape and flee for cover. Following the soldier's departure, they search for the girls and eventually find them inside a trapped elevator. Inside, they also discover the body of a woman, confirming that whoever is flying those ships is responsible. The city has been declared a war zone. After rescuing the girls, they witness an armed soldier murdering others' residents without any mercy. They hide for a short time before the two families part ways when the coast clears. Peter confronts Alice after arriving at his apartment and informs her that everything that is occurring is what he saw in his dreams, but in a different order. He has no idea what will happen next, but he believes they should go to the factory where he works. When they hear the sound of more people being shot, they barricade the main door before locking the girls away in their room. All of a sudden, someone attempts to force their way through the main door unexpectedly, causing the terrified couple to push it from the other end. Unfortunately, amidst the confusion, Lucy walks out of the room and hides under a table in search of her soft toy Ermine. Meanwhile, the armed alien drills a hole through the wall after failing to gain entry through the door. Fearful, Peter and Alice rush back to their daughters, only to discover that Lucy is not there and has dared to venture out. By this time, the armed alien has discovered Lucy and pauses to take a keen, curious look at her. Peter attacks the soldier from behind, taking advantage of the slight distraction. Alice also arrives on the scene, and the couple eventually subdues the alien. Following this, Peter takes the soldier's weapon and leads his family to the roof. They reunite there alongside Ray and his family. They are all shocked and devastated to see their once sprawling city is on fire. Suddenly, an alien drone with a flashlight surveys the building, causing them to flee as quickly as possible. They then realize they can't be on the rooftop for a long time and decide to move down using the glass cleaner's lift. However, regrettably, one of the crane's supports snaps, forcing them to enter an empty apartment. Meanwhile, the soldier from earlier is revealed to be still alive and is presently on the lookout for the family, tracking them with a homing signal on the gun taken by Peter. Peter, on the other hand, analyzes the alien's gun and discovers that it has a biometric trigger. Only its owner can shoot it. When he notices several aliens approaching, he instructs the group to hurry to his factory's basement, which he believes is the only safe spot. However, he has no idea how to get there because the entire territory is surrounded by aliens. Fortunately, Alice proposes that they can still get to the basement using the tunnel she uncovered while working. Suddenly, a spaceship attacks them from the outside, killing Ray and his family on the spot. Peter rushes his family out of the flat, but they are met by two armed aliens in the corridor. They swiftly flee, as Peter desperately attempts to circumvent the rifle's biometrics authentication. Fortunately, he succeeds in killing the troops just in time. Peter and his family then exit the building and make their way toward the passage. But, just as they are about to enter, the alien spacecraft begin firing at them. Alice was injured in the process. The alien soldier from earlier catches up to Peter as he is tending to his wife and assaults him. However, Peter fights back and smashes the alien's helmet. To everyone's surprise, the soldier removes his helmet and reveals that he too is a human. Peter demands answers, but when he sees his wife wounded, he threatens the soldier with a gun and instructs him to carry Alice to the factory. Peter and his family join forces with his boss David and a group of armed guys. The soldier is apprehended, and a medic on the scene tends to Alice's wounds. To Peter's surprise, the doctor seems to electrocute Alice as if she were some piece of technological equipment. David then informs Peter that the invasion has been anticipated for several years, and in reality, most people on the planet anticipated this day. The medic then informs Peter that Alice has undergone substantial damage after additional evaluation. She has suffered internal organ damage and so cannot be rescued. The soldier, just then, who is being led away for execution, yells that he can save Alice. Initially, Peter believes he is only attempting to wiggle his way out of the problem. However, when he considers his dying wife, he decides to give the soldier a chance. He also decides to remain with the soldier and Alice as David transports their girls to a metro stop where a transport train awaits to take them all to an off-site base. Before departing, the daughters said an emotional goodbye to their parents, afraid that they might never see them again. Soon after, the soldier cuts open Alice's wound, and Peter is taken aback by what he sees. Several cables within her body. He becomes agitated and wants explanations. To his surprise, the soldier reveals that Alice is an artificial intelligence robot. Peter is shocked and rendered dumbfounded by the discovery. However, the soldier informs him that if he wishes to save Alice, he needs a backup power source, which is Peter himself. Peter gets a pocket knife and begins cutting open his chest cautiously, guided by the soldier. Even though he makes a deep incision, he feels no discomfort. After completing the procedure, he sees prosthetic organs and cables within his body indicating that he too is a synthetic. As he struggles to comprehend the information, the alien soldier pulls out a wire and links it between the two synthetics, knocking Peter unconscious. During their stay, the elders told the youngsters that the synthetics are terrifying monsters who only know how to murder. After 50 years of preparation, they have finally developed superior equipment and weaponry, with which they have returned to take what is purportedly theirs. Miles, on the other hand, had always imagined the synthetics to be monsters rather than families with children. He concluded he couldn't murder anyone after getting a good look at Lucy under the table. Peter is taken aback after hearing him out, but he nevertheless thanks Miles for his assistance before departing with his wife to find their daughters as the humans breach the roof. However, as they approach the rails, they are caught in the crossfire between the synthetics and the humans. Fortunately, the synthetics hold firm, allowing Peter and Alice to flee and ultimately reach the station, where the train is ready to take off. Even when the humans come, the resilient David holds them off with a few rounds, allowing Peter, Alice, and himself to board the train. The movie draws up to a close as they all depart on the train exiting the rundown city. David explains that he and a handful of other synthetics kept their memories to stay prepared for the inevitable return of the humans, a move that proved wise and successful. Peter gives him a kind grin, hoping that one day, humans and synthetics would be at peace and harmony.